Hey, you remember back a while ago when we were talking about using things off the car that all you asked is if I asked permission first?
No, just no.
Can I just finish?
No.
I can't finish.
No, then I'll get it back.
No, you'll get it back.
I never do.
I've already bought one on eBay. It's on its way.
No, I don't know. No. It's going to be as good. It's going to be something wrong.
When do you think you'll be in next?
I don't know why.
No, I just wondered. What have you been doing?
Well, you think it's going to be there before I get back. That's what you're thinking now, aren't you?
So you probably won't be until Saturday or something. Okay.
No, I might come in today just for I don't want to take it.
No, I know. That's a dead point. I was just wondering when we were going to get together. Maybe have breakfast or something. Hang on a second. What? Yeah. Yep. Gotta go. I got an estimate, buddy.
Okay.
Let me call you back. Bye. Oh, it's going to piss off. I'm really been blessed to have this car here.
Last time, Mark and cousin Dougie built out a 340 engine for the super rare 1 of 8 Inviolate 1971 Plymouth Cuda convertible. This time, our infamous 1970 Plum Crazy Challenger RT is ready for delivery, and just arriving to replace it is a 1970 Burnt Orange Challenger RT SE. Mark gives us the grand tour while reminiscing about the Purple Challenger's previous Plum Crazy owner.
I'll give you 30 feet. 30?
No, give me a gun. Give me a gun.
You, Barbara. The unburied dead are coming back to life.
I'm Mark Warman, and together we bring dead muscle cars back to life, to exactly the way they were on the day they were born. So I want to take you out and show you a car that just came in. It's ironic a little bit because we're working on Challenge. It feels like Challenger week at Graveyard Cars, but this one was supposed to be here last week. It ended up showing up here this week. Had a client call a couple of months ago. I had a 70 Challenger RT Burnt Orange, wanted to have it restored. We talked about should we restore it, shouldn't we? Because it's a clean original car, but we came to the ultimate conclusion that it wasn't clean and original enough to just leave it alone. And he owns dealerships. He wants to put this on the showroom floor next to like a brand new Hellcat or a brand new Demon. So it needs to really look right. So we put a deal together, got the car moved out here. This is a really neat car. And I wanted to show some of the similarities between this car and actually our purple car. There's a lot of neat little things in there that, our Mopar guys probably already know that stuff, but there's so many people that don't. And if you're gonna go out and buy a car, this might give you an idea what direction do I want to go. Do I like the formal back window? Do I like the formed headliner? Do I like what makes this car an SE? Those are all good relevant questions, and I think I'll be able to shed some light on that. This is an SE, has the formal back roof, the formed headliner with the overhead consolette. I mean, there's quite a few things that are different about it. One of the things you'll notice right off the bat, my favorite color, burnt orange, FK5, Foxtrot Kilo 5. I love that color. And when I see it with this white longitudinal stripe, it reminds me so much of my Charger. My Charger was burnt orange with a white top. It wasn't a stripe car because it was just a regular Charger. So we'll talk about that first. V6W, V6X, whatever the trim code was for it, it meant that it got a longitudinal stripe. So in 1970, when it was talking about a longitudinal stripe on a Challenger, it looked just like that. It's kind of a deceiving little stripe, and if you look at our other car and when I was putting it on, this actually almost goes downhill towards the back. It starts higher and it goes down just a little bit, and so when you put that together with the rake of the car, it almost looks like it's going downhill at the back, but it's mostly an illusion. If you had a Challenger that was an RT and didn't get the longitudinal stripe, let's say it was stripe delete, you would have got, very similar to where you see this RT, you would have actually got a badge that said RT, a physical bolt-on badge right there. My value system might be a little bit different than some people's. In this case, mostly original paint, but it's not perfect. Original stripe, but it's not perfect. Is it okay to be on a Survivor car? Yeah, if the other things, if the peripheral things around it, if the seat inserts were perfect, if the carpet was perfect, then they're not. We've got a headliner sagging down on it. So we could piecemeal it. We could do the headliner, we could fix that, we could put seat inserts in it, we could touch up the paint where it needs to be touched up. But is it a Survivor anymore, or has it been worked over? What's the owner of the car seen? In the case of our Daytona, he bought the car brand new. He's seen it like that. He knows what it looks like. He's not impressed anymore. He wants it to look the way it did when it rolled off the showroom floor. So all those kind of culminate in what decisions we make between leave it alone or restore. Our car inside, our purple car, it does not have a right-hand outside mirror. That's a cool option. In this particular case, since they're painted, it's G36 is the code. It gives you a left-hand remote and a right-hand non-remote painted the exact same color of the car. Could have also got it in chrome. Boom, boom. Which on this particular car, I actually think chrome might have looked a little bit prettier. The other things that are similar to the car inside, the F60 15 tires. Now what's cool about this is, while this is an F60 bias ply tire, it's a road hugger. Those were never a factory option. They were available aftermarket. You could have gone down the next day and said, I'm not a Goodyear fan. I don't want the polyglass. I want the road huggers. And this is what you would have got. That's what makes that so cool. Because most of the cars, in fact, if you walk this lot, over 100 cars here, you're gonna have a hard time finding a bias ply tire in an F60 15. Most people put Krager wheels on, aftermarket wheels, and then they put the BF Goodriches or the Dunlop GT qualifiers or Formula Ones. Very rarely did you see somebody go out and actually spend good money for a bias ply. Kind of a cool little option. And so outwardly, that's where your similarities begin to grow very thin between our purple Challenger inside and this one. This is a special edition. JS29 would be the first 4 characters of the VIN number, right? A47 is the package number. Now this car has your front stone guard moldings, back edge of hood molding, back edge of fender moldings, door belt moldings. Now Darren's car didn't have the door belt moldings, and you could get just the door belt moldings and not get the back edge of fender and the back edge of hood. Our door handles are going to be the same, all right, but again, belt molding on the quarter, belt molding on the door. So being a special edition car, again, an A47 is your alphanumeric code on your fender tag. If you want to look that up, you'll see what comes standard with it. One of the things that comes standard with that package is the SE right here, the special edition door trim panels inside with the carpeted lower bottom, which I'll show you in a second, and that cool, like John Buck's car had, opera back window. I call it an opera window. It's a formal roof. It's a smaller back window. But if you look at that compared to a regular Challenger, there's quite a bit of difference between them. Probably the single coolest feature of an SE is that back window. It gives it a element of sophistication, I think, where most muscle cars don't have that.
Stay tuned. Mark continues to tour this Mopar classic in greater detail while he reminisces about the previous owner of the recently completed 1970 Plum Crazy Challenger.
This molding right here on the vinyl top is different for an SE than it is for a regular Challenger. It's a little bit wider, okay? The width on that compared to a regular one, this is again much wider than the non-SE. That's because there's another retaining strip down underneath there that this has to have the provision to be able to go over the top of. So it's really, again, unique pieces that at a glance you don't think are different. Both cars were flip-top gas cap, which was an option. So if you go back to our 1970 Challenger sunroof car, loaded with options, power sunroof, power windows, loaded everywhere, it still used a screw-on standard style gas cap. So this again, if the spring wasn't broke, it would have popped out on its own. And this one has the optional locking gas cap, which is a very rare option, but is called out on the broadcast sheet. You know, it's a lot of fun for me to point out the differences in these cars, but immediately I think of the older episodes of Graveyard Carz where I'd love to wind Aaron up.
Oh boy, thanks Mark. We didn't get to work on it all day Saturday as promised, and nothing's been done. Thank you very much, Mark. Well, guess what? I'll just work on it myself. What we're trying to do is hook up the starter wires, which were hooked up before, but mysteriously, you know, they grew legs and walked out of the shop. Jeez, thanks a lot, Mark. See what it costs me all the time? So it costs 2 or 3 hours worth of work, plus all the problems, the grief, the anger. You know, I'm gonna need counseling for this. Like a dog in the back of their own turf is real tough, but out here, he's not gonna be so tough, I can guarantee it.
He can carry on a conversation all by himself. I mean, Royal says I do that, but I'm not. I'm actually torturing somebody when I'm doing it. But you walk in the back room and he'll be in the bathroom and you, God, is somebody in there with him? He's carrying on both sides of a conversation.
Like people have said, I should be running the show. It should be my show. And he should do what I say. He's riding around in his car with the heater on, watching TV in his car. He watches TV in his car.
Darren wanted to run his car. He wanted to start the engine. There was no reason to. He'd already started it multiple times. I've got video of it, starting way back down on 34th and Main Street. He wanted to start it and hear it run. He was motivated to start it and hear it run. What he wasn't motivated to do was to work on the car.
It's got oil, it's got water. We hooked up some gas to it via a gas can in the back. Since we don't have no gas tank, don't ask me what happened to my gas tank, okay? Got the hose in there. Yeah, it's nice and wet. It's not in gear, as you can see, as it rolls. Oh, hello. Ooh, it's going to run.
He wanted to get a car running that had no brakes. Not only did it have no brakes, had no lines going to the brakes. Okay, so what are you ready to do here?
We're ready to start it.
Had no steering. Wheels and tires were completely worn out and shot. No doors, no glass.
Think it's gonna run? That's a question.
Did you primer it or not?
Yes.
It was a go-kart, not even a go-kart. Go-karts are safer than that. And he had to get it running. Didn't care, that was his job to get that thing running. And that's exactly what we did.
Don't sound too good. Got gas. Wait.
What is that? I asked you to hook the coil up, you freak. You don't hook it to a coil
It
wire.
wasn't hooked up, it was just sitting there. What's wrong?
You're a miracle. It goes on the positive
we
side
leak a
of the
little bit of
coil.
gas right there?
Yeah, it does look like it's leaking. Well, don't hook it up and spark it. You're gonna kill
I don't think
somebody.
it's gonna be a big deal. A little bit of gas there, do you?
See, now we got fire.
Sounds good, huh?
I don't think that choke should be slammed shut.
Suck that down in there, will it? No. Well, that's gonna be good on film. So what do you think? Sound pretty good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it outside.
The problem is, once we got it running, he was kind of like a little kid, right? A school kid, happy.
D-Day, we're gonna drive the car. It's D's day today. My day.
And then something, and you see it come into him, right? Things are going too smooth. I'm too happy. This ain't right. And he checks himself. Just hop in, put it in neutral, I'll start it up.
No, I mean, you guys are not just gonna stand back if something happens, right? Wow. Boy, these are uncomfortable cars.
So make sure you're in neutral. Okay, hang on. I want to set your idle up, okay? Let's just run through it one more time. And all of a sudden I look up and he disconnects the power to the engine. After it took me half an hour to prime it, get it running, and all I want to do is set the timing on it, he disconnects it. Why'd you do that? And the best part of all that, when you ask him why, he hasn't got a clue why. He doesn't even remember doing it.
Now I don't want to start it.
I'd like to smash your face in. It's difficult enough to do your foolishness without you disconnecting it and killing the motor. The battery's weak. This is already a circus act. Is there anything else we want to add to this? Would you like to juggle the gas tank on the roof?
Beep, beep, beep.
Okay, put it in gear. And let the clutch out real slow. And remember, if it goes too fast, just pull that wire loose.
The clutch went to the floor. Bang, the clutch pedal hits the floor. I didn't appreciate that at all. I didn't know something had come loose or what. Till we looked down, parts missing.
Where's the relay rod that goes from the Z-bar to the throwout fork?
Well, it's on there.
It's not on.
The whole clutch was all together. Everything was working.
Well, you remember I used that for the TA, right?
This is supposed to be my show.
You put it back, though. I bought you all the pieces. You told me you put it back, right? In that particular case, I needed to do.
One of these days, I'm going to turn him upside down and shake the change out of his pockets. Thank you, Mark.
Here we go.
This is part of the game we always play, isn't it?
What option was never available on a Mopar that was equipped with a 440 and a 4-speed? Was it disc brakes, cold air induction, air conditioning? I'll have that answer for you right after the break. So what's your answer? You should know, I taught it to you before. What option could you not get, no matter how rich you were, no matter how influential you were, you could not get this option on a car that started life with a 440 and a 4-speed? The answer is air conditioning. That's right. You could get a cold air induction in 96, no problem, on a 440, 446 pack, 426 Hemi. Get it on a 340, you can get it on a 383. Disc brakes, always optional. Almost every car had it as an option. Air conditioning, no, they didn't want it. It wasn't available on a 440 with a 4-speed. It was available on a 440 with an automatic. It wasn't available on a 446 barrel or 6-pack with a 4-speed or an automatic, period. It wasn't available. And it was never available on a 426 Hemi. So there you go. No H51 air conditioning on anything that runs hard. That's my opinion anyway. The badging, now this is interesting. This particular car, again, is very much like our purple car. It's the V6W, it's a white longitudinal stripe. Optional would have been a transverse or the bumblebee stripe, all right? That would have gone right across the back here, faded down the side, and just like in our purple sunroof car, it ends right here. In this case, it doesn't have that back here. Even if it did have that back here, even if it was a bumblebee car, it still would have got the Challenger badge and the RT badge. And so our purple car inside also has the Challenger and the RT. So what this is a one-piece aluminum molding, all right? It's fairly wide. I don't have the keys to it, but it goes from here to here. You'll notice it has the argent silver, very similar to the argent you see in the grille of a 1970 Cuda. Standard on all special edition models, all JS29 cars, you would have got that. You couldn't get it without it. But you could get a regular Challenger and order that and add it to it. So like I had a 6-cylinder 70 Dodge Challenger, nothing car, 6-cylinder, 3 on the floor, not an option anywhere, except it had that crazy molding on there. So you never quite know. So outwardly, those are the main differences and similarities between an SE and a non-SE car. Things are about to change fast because we're going to take a look underneath the hood. Pop-up spring's missing on this one. All right, when you take a look underneath here, not only is there a big difference because it's a 426 Hemi, but somebody's already been here on this one, all right? So, meaning you've got the Acel coil, dual point coil, you've got the air cleaner that's been chromed, the valve covers that are chromed. This is all supposed to be different. This is supposed to be Hemi orange, valve covers are wrinkle black. This is supposed to be a dual point distributor, Press-Lite dual point distributor. Now, oddly enough, the same radiator. You got your 2998 956, that's the same one on all 70 non-air conditioning 26-inch. So our purple car inside has that. As you go down the sides of the aprons, a lot of the stuff, again, this one's been messed with. It's got the super coil, whatever it is, a Mallory super coil. Sorry, Mallory. It's got the same horns. It uses the same. That's funny. Yeah, there was this thing about, Darren had a thing about horns. I never will understand that.
Hey, Mark,
Hang on, I'm not taking it for that. I'm not taking it for that.
No, you're not taking it for anything.
I'm taking it to match it.
You did.
I don't have a match to it. I need to take it out there.
To match it.
Come with me while I go match it. right now. Why do you think I got it? I need a match for it.
Well, go.
Okay, let's find it in here, okay?
Oh, here's one, right here.
No, see, that's why I needed it in my hand, because I didn't want to walk back and forth 1,000 times. See, it has these serrated edges right here, so it'll bite it. Is that it? Yep. Nice, nice.
You're an idiot.
Oh, look at me, everybody. Hey, look at me. I'm going to throw a fit because I don't want the horn bolt taken off of my car, because I might need them when I drive down the road with no brakes. Sometimes it's really easy just to grab anything and make it fit, but in the reality, there's just certain bolts, certain nuts, certain finishes that have to go under the hood of the car to be OE correct. That's what we specialize in here. I was going to take one off of Darren's car, but he caught me right in the middle of it, so I kind of had to put it back. But I told him I was using it for a sample, which I wasn't. I was going to borrow it forever. Anyway, this is the windshield washer reservoir, and it uses the exact same windshield washer reservoir any other car. It doesn't care if it's got a 426 Hemi in it. The voltage regulator on the firewall, the wiper motor, other than the date code on it, won't care whether it's on a Hemi car or whether it's on a 440 car. All Challenger RTs, by the way, use a Rally instrument cluster, so they would all have the variable speed wiper motors. Little side note. Looking down the side of this apron right here, again, all the bolt-on stuff, the wire retainers, the wiring harnesses, you've got your clutch fan, which is part of your heavy-duty cooling package, the fan shroud itself, again, the same things you're going to find on our JS23 U-code car. That's our purple car inside.
Stay tuned. Mark continues to tour this Mopar classic in greater detail while he reminisces about the previous owner of the recently completed 1970 Plum Crazy Challenger. And later, they take this beautifully restored muscle car to Chinook Winds for some fun at the beach.
Threw me a little curveball today. We're going to look at my car and see where we need to go forward with the restoration process. I'm all excited about that. It's been a long haul.
I'm going to help Flipper go underneath this car and look for all the parts and the pieces that we need to get ordered.
Hopefully there's a few of my pieces of my car left.
Okay, so I need to order your gas tank. I just think, in fairness, I know I took it without asking, but you were never happy with it because it got rust on it, and I put it in a car that somebody didn't care, so.
So what are you saying?
Well, I'm saying, do you want to contribute to the gas tank?
Well, it was brand new.
It was rusty.
It was brand new.
Okay. The distribution block for the emergency brake cable to go from here over to here, why didn't you put that on?
Well, I did.
This one right
I didn't
here.
know it was missing.
I thought we had kind of an open communication about, you know, what I could use as long as I replaced it type of thing. Where's all the nuts for the seats? Let me guess, I took those too.
Surprised there's still two of them on there, actually.
Why would I take your nuts?
Because you don't have any for yourself.
Okay. Where's the bolts that hold the heat shields on? And don't say I took them.
I don't know.
Okay, that's the right answer.
Oh, what's the deal with the gold rods on my transmission?
What do you mean?
Well, they're not right. They're supposed to be black, and those aren't the original rods.
I thought you...
Thought me what?
I thought you knew that.
No.
I swear you told me that I could have those rods for the RTSC, didn't you? Well, you hit them in plain sight.
No, I hit them in the cabinet in the other shop originally. This meeting started off with good intentions, but now it looks like I'm gonna have to buy more parts for my car that were stolen by Mark.
So just make sure that when you take the car apart that you inventory every single part
what
for
about
it.
the front sway bar? It's missing.
Huh? I think it's not right that you make me a scapegoat for everything missing on your car, okay? Yeah, I took the sway bar. I took the sway bar. I thought he knew I took the sway bar. I took the shift rods.
The front sway bar. They had a front sway bar on these cars. Oh boy. Yeah, that meeting went real well, didn't it? Gee, Christmas. So as always, I'm put back further and further on the back burner because now we got to get past the parts that are missing. Again, more parts that are missing, stolen. You know, pilfered is a good word for it.
So far, Mark has introduced us to the newly arrived 1970 Burnt Orange Challenger RTSE. while reminiscing about old friends. Now he finishes up the muscle car's grand tour before heading up to Chinook Winds to reveal the recently finished 1970 Plum Crazy Challenger RT.
Hinges are the same, hood's the same, depending on when the hood was made. We've talked about crush zones before. But the rest of it, pretty much the same. You look at your grill, a 70 Challenger RT grill is a 70 Challenger RT grill. No matter how you slice it, it comes up JS. And now, an interesting thing about this one, I've been picking a little bit on the purple car. So the purple car, yeah, it's a 444 speed, one of 916 made. It's a very rare car. This particular car being an RT SC with a 426 Hemi, you would expect it has the whole enchilada thrown at it in the way of options. Let me show you one option it doesn't have, which is this was standard, but most people that would plunk the option and put a 426 Hemi would want to stop. This guy didn't care too much about it. Manual drum brakes. Our 444 speed car inside has power disc brakes, which gives you an automatic 10-inch rear drum. This particular thing has 11-inch manual drums all the way around. Another thing this one has that our purple one doesn't is the power steering. This guy said, I don't care if I stop, I just want to make sure I can steer my way out of a wreck. The guy with the 444 speed car says, I got to be able to stop, but I don't care if I can steer, I'm just going to leave it manual steering. Power steering's for sissies. Who knows, right? But with this power steering and the gear ratio, it automatically got you the cooler. Another neat option. So basically, like I say, in a nutshell, those are your main similarities and differences between a 440 U-code car and an R-code 426 Hemi. So I think with that, we'll run around and take a look at the inside.
Who's the monkeys that have been loose here? Idiots.
No, I didn't mind the car setting around here. I mean, he was a friend, and I knew he was pacing himself. I didn't know it was a 30-year restoration.
It's not a garbage can or a shelf.
Sure, as time goes on, the list gets bigger, time passes by, and you know, there's not a lot of room to store it. So we put it out back where the wrecks were at the old shop, and it kind of just collected dust.
Oh, that's crap. Who's throwing all this stuff on my car now? This is ridiculous. Junk, this is not my, you know. And they've got, somebody's been sandblasting out here. It's not the beach.
The truth of the matter is, occasionally, not very often, I always got permission first, we'd borrow something off of it to make a car that had to go because the owner really needed it back, done. Dang
it, Mark. The horns are gone for the second or third time, and the bolts. Okay, I'm gonna take this car out of here. This is enough. I'm tired of it being a parts car or anything else. Okay, Mark, we gotta discuss a few things.
So again, you gotta forget the fact that our car inside has black interior. This one has the burnt orange, which is my favorite, of course. But let's just take a look at the differences between all of the interior pieces, because there is a lot more difference in this car than there is in a non-SE. We start with our door trim panel. This big one-piece door panel, that's the same, it's just painted a different color, or dyed, injected, molded, the burnt orange. But as I was mentioning earlier, when you got the SE, the JS29 or the A47 alphanumeric code on the tag, this insert right here said Special Edition. The other thing that came with the trim panels on the SE cars was this right here, this lower carpeted area with the reflector. This isn't a light, it's a reflector. Now, normally you see that all the time on an SE, but you could order it on other cars. And in fact, our purple car has this carpeted piece with the reflector. It just doesn't say SE in here. So it kind of shows you how many different options they could have gone with. Again, you know, I'm just kind of flooded today with memories of all the years from the time I drug the car in back in the 80s to it sold, and then he bought it, and all the go-arounds we had with it, and the parts and the fun. And now, of course, it's sold and going to the East Coast. But again, that wasn't the first time. When I pulled Darren into my office years ago, I had a deal done. I had a deal cooked. You got it, good.
What's the deal?
So you know the guy that bought the 6.6 Hemi Charger, Vinny, back in New Jersey? He's got a friend that wants a big block 4-speed car. I talked to him about your car. All right, ghouls, I got a good one for you. And this is a tough one. So get your little Google fingers ready. True or false? The 1969 Dodge Yellow Jacket was the very first Hemi E-body built by our friends at Mopar. We'll have that answer right after the break. All right, ghouls, this is a tricky one. True or false? Was the 1969 Dodge Yellow Jacket the very first Hemi-powered E-body ever made? It was. It's true. That car was built for the show car circuit. It was painted orange and black originally, and they loaded it with options. That car had every option imaginable. Anything you could get was on that car. Now later it was repainted, and it was named the Diamante, which also traveled the circuit. That car, today, historically, is the most valuable Mopar muscle car on the planet. So now we'll just take a look real quick at the instrumentation. This is a rally instrument cluster. It's the same exact rally instrument cluster that you would have gotten in a CUDA, but it didn't come standard in a CUDA model. It did come standard on all RTs, whether it was an SE or not. In 70 and 71, even into 72, they had the 8,000 RPM tachometer, the full instrumentation gauges. You had your fuel, your oil, your temp, your alternator. Over on the right, you had your clock. Over here, you have the cool 150-mile-an-hour speedometer. This left switch panel right here, this is exactly like the one that we have inside, because there's not a rear defogger in either car. Neither car are optioned with that. If it was, there'd be another cutout right here, same exact looking setup, except it would say rear defogger, and it would be a switch that would come on and turn on a fogger that went in the back window and actually defog the back glass. That hole, if it existed on a switch panel, could have also been for a convertible top. If you had a power convertible top in a car, you wouldn't have had a rear defogger, but you would have had that switch right there. Both cars are non-air conditioning because the H51 was not available on a 426 Hemi or a 440 with a 4-speed. If you had a 440 with an automatic, you could add H51 air conditioning, but neither of these two engine combinations would have allowed you air conditioning. That's why it's not there. One of the neatest options, the car inside has a standard steering wheel. This is what they called the rim blow steering wheel. You see this brushed, finished aluminum spoke? You got the color keyed center with the word Dodge. You go to hit that, that's not a horn. And right now the battery's not connected on it, so I can't show you. But if you go here, you see this little ring, this little black ring right here. When you'd press that, and this one's hard as a rock, so we'll have to restore it. But if you press that and squeezed it, it would make your horn go off. Ironically, our 1970 Maverick, when I was a kid, had a rim blow style wheel. It was different shape, but it would have still been the same principle, where it had this contact ring around the inside of the wheel. That's a really neat option. This car's an automatic. Obviously, our car inside is a 4-speed. Both console shifts, but this one's an automatic, which uses your slapstick. We go up high here, we see our formed headliner. So this isn't the typical grainy headliner that uses the crossbows. This is a one-piece fiberboard, masonite type of board. It has a material, very unique material, stretched over it, and that's why it's sagging. That's one of the problems the SEs had. They would let go from the heat and the moisture after a period of time. This is your overhead consolette, C26 on your option code. This is really cool. This has a low fuel, fasten seat belt, and door ajar warning lights right up here in this little area. Just one of the neatest little options. My cousin had a 70 Grand Coupe. It also uses that same overhead consolette. Just kind of a cool thing to see. Again, adds a bit of sophistication to a really cool muscle car. So you know what, at the end of the day, they're very similar, but in the same token, they're worlds apart. This is a cool car. The car we're doing in there is a cool car. And it's always fun for me to come out and go through these like this because keeps your brain quick, keeps you clever, keeps you remembering what you're supposed to be remembering, and at the same time, it's kind of a fun trip down memory lane. Again, you know, I'm just kind of flooded today with memories of all the years from the time I drug the car in back in the 80s to it sold, and then he bought it, and all the go-arounds we had with it, and the parts and the fun. And now, of course, it's sold and going to the East Coast. But again, that wasn't the first time. When I pulled Darren into my office years ago, I had a deal done. I had a deal cooked. You got it, good.
What's the deal?
So you know the guy that bought the 6.6 Hemi Charger, Vinny, back in New Jersey? He's got a friend that wants a big block 4-speed car. I talked to him about your car. I didn't figure you'd care if I did, and he wants to buy it as long as I can restore it for the number that I gave him, which is a very affordable price, but I'm not going to share that with you because it's none of your business. Will you sell your car right now? He will give you $35,000. We will wire it to you tomorrow.
I thought you said he wanted to buy it.
He will give you 35,000 USD.
Well, I'll have to think about it.
No, you're not. I already told him you'd take it. You're not thinking about anything.
Mark, you're just trying to welch on all of our other agreements.
So if your car's worth $20,000, I'm giving you an extra $15,000, which is way more than I would owe you for those parts on the car. So I factored all that in.
I really do want to think about it.
Okay, you know what? Think about it. I understand it's a big thing. You're never going to work on the car, but I understand you don't know that. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. Believe me, you're floating that thing. Decides he'd call me up and say, hey, Mark. Welby.
Hey, this is Darren.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm going to go ahead and go with that deal. It's a good number on the car.
You're going to take it, the 35?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you, right? I mean, in my mind, it was the best thing he could have ever done. It was a good decision, and I made the mistake of complimenting him. Well, that, my friend, is probably the smartest thing you've done in a long time. I think that's a good number. You can do something with that money. The wheels in his head came to a smoking halt. Good call, buddy. I think that was the smartest thing you've done in a long time. I'll let him know.
No, I think I changed mine. I don't want to do it.
Click.
Done, the deal's off.
Don't. You know, after that deal unwound, it was 3 years, 2.5 years probably before the next one came around. But by that time, we had already had kind of our parting of the ways. Things weren't so great between us. And he knew he was never going to do the car. So, and he knew the number was really good. And so he just decided he would take it, and that's what he did. This particular car, the purple one, I've got a lot of history with it. I go way back. It was a car that was brought in, that was talked about, the whole shtick that we used to do about parts missing and things like that. Yeah, it was meant to be entertaining. There was some truth in it. I would borrow parts from time to time. Always returned them, so don't try to. And so it'll be sad to see the car go, but at the same time, I know that it's gonna start a whole new group of memories with its new owner, just like it did with us here. While it's bittersweet, it's all good. It's what it's supposed to be. I should have been a philosopher. You know what? I thought about that. Do they still have, can you just be a philosopher? Do you have to like go to school or anything? So today we're at the Surf City Car Show in Lincoln City, Oregon. Got Willie here and Alyssa. We're signing autographs, taking pictures. Right now there's a couple 100,000 people waiting all the way back over almost to...
There's 5.
Well, don't show the, obviously. They're not here right now. They're, what's up? Yeah, you don't. Okay, right now it's a break.
No, it's not.
All right, everybody's on break right now. They're giving away free money. You know, we don't do a lot of shows. Every year we get to go to Las Vegas to see a show. We go up to our friends at Little Creek Casino. This particular one was kind of a last minute ad, but we had a lot of fun. It's a great show. Okay. All right. It's a great show. I'm going to judge Best in Show later today. It's what I do. They wanted the best car guy to judge the best car. So.
And he didn't show up, so then they got hold of Mark to do it.
You know, one of the things I thought was kind of cute, kind of endearing, is my daughter, Alyssa. It's the day of the show, and people are just swarming all over. Can I get your picture with me? Right? Okay, while these guys are signing, I'm the only one that matters, so come on in here. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She's only been on a year, so they don't have quite the same following that she would have. I've been on since the beginning. So they're doing all these photo ops, really cool people. And all of a sudden, I notice that she's kind of bored, gets up and starts walking around the show, asking people if she can get her picture with them. So she can brag later and say, yeah, had a whole bunch of people ask me for pictures. Say, obviously she's got one of my gene traits in that way, because that's exactly what I would have done. First place or no place? Another metaphor. I'm coming up with them everywhere. First place or no place? Yeah, I like that. That's a keeper. You know, when a car leaves that you've spent so much time on, it's always a little bittersweet because, I mean, I do love the cars. I don't do this for any reason except for the passion of the cars, and along the way, of course, you touch a lot of lives. It is sad to see it go, but it's going to a great home. What a gorgeous truck.
Thank you.
Is this brand new?
The truck's about 14 months old, the trailer's about 4 months old.
Wow. This is here to pick up our 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. This is a 440 4-speed. They built 916 of these cars total. Probably the only one that's purple with a white stripe and a black top and leather interior. This is the one I drug in from Philomath, Oregon about 20 years ago, maybe 25. The good news is that it's going to a great home, really nice guy that bought it, and the car's just beautiful right now. So in about a week, it'll be home in Long Island under new ownership, but we're gonna miss her around here. This kind of re-kick-started me back into the Mopars after I got out when I was in my mid-20s. I got this was probably the second Mopar I bought when I opened Welby's over on Olympic Street back in '85. I think I bought the car around '88. You know, when you look back over a car's period of time, usually at Graveyard Cars, it belongs to a client, it comes in, you do your work on it, you knock it out, you go for a couple of road tests on it. But this one I have the memory of going out when I first got it running back in, like I say, I think it was around '88. Got it running and went out and tore up and down the parking lot there. And so my fondest memory of the car probably was the day I got that thing out and romped on it, because it was just on fire. All numbers matching, 4-speed 354 Dana, manual steering, power disc brakes, leather interior, just a beautiful car. Probably one of the sadder days because I kind of hate to see the car go. It's been a big part of our show and our shop and my life for a long time. But it is good knowing it's going to a good family. It's going to be loved and cherished, which is what it deserves. But it came out gorgeous. Look at that reflection. Can you see that? See my hand waving? But then on the other side, you got to wave goodbye, right? It's loaded up on the truck. You know that you probably won't see it again. It's a very unique car, you know, possibly the only one in the world that was built like it, in as much as there were only 916 made anyway. How many are purple with black top and white stripe and a 4-speed? How many of those are numbers matching? So yeah, it's, for me personally, it's a bittersweet day, more so than most cars that go home.